What has really changed? What have you found that has changed in the last 2 years that you weren't doing 2 years ago as to where you are today?
There's just been a shift with me mentally. I feel like I'm living in my purpose. I'm a pretty private person. I'm not a fan of
Welcome back to Movified. I'm your host, Mark Hirschi, owner of Salmon's Moving and Storage, located in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, and also owner of Ellis Moving and Storage, also in North Vancouver. Stephen Reed told me I got to make sure that I'm giving shout outs to both companies now. He said it's a must. It is a must. So we got to make sure it happens. Well, welcome everybody to Movified Mondays. I'm excited for today's guest. He is a returning guest, Landon Franchow with Miracle Movers out in Salt Lake, Utah. What's up, buddy?
What up? How's it going, man?
It is going great. I love it. For those that want a flashback, Landon and his wife Amanda joined me on the podcast like right in the very beginning.
I think we were the second episode.
I think so. It was great. And at that time, if you go back, this was, shot probably off their computer, in their office. It was, let's figure out how the mics work and let's figure out how this whole setup works. And then I flashed to today, and Landon's got this whole setup now in his home. And I am just so proud of this guy because there's been a huge change, buddy. There's been a huge change that's happened over the last year and a half.
I don't know, man. Just
a
lot
of
my best life. I feel really good.
A lot.
I'm so excited to jump back on and do this check-in and talk about the progress we've had over the last couple of years. And it's truly an honor to, be on here and have you as a friend. And, a lot of our success comes from, I call them the big homies, right? I talking to the big homies and doing what they do. And, it's given us tremendous growth and success over the last couple of years.
It's been wild. And watching that, I almost kind of want to jump into the fact that, I watch you on social media and it's one of those things where I always stop and have to watch because you are really putting yourself out there in the last couple months with your videos, really hitting it home, sharing your stories, sharing some impacts that are going on with your lives. And especially on the social media side, what has really changed? What have you found that has changed in the last 2 years that you weren't doing 2 years ago as to where you are today?
There's just been a shift with me mentally where I feel like I'm living in my purpose, and the stuff that I was manifesting years ago, like thinking about is really materializing these days. I have a couple houses, a solid company, a strong interstate division, happy marriage. I'm like, I came from being a drug addict. I was homeless for years, and something inside of me, and I kept seeing this on my clock. I don't know if you can see it. It says 11:11. I see it every single day. And that is like a numerology BS thing that says to, pay attention because things are changing, right? You are elevating to who you want to be. And I just had a burning thing inside of me that says, you have a message, let's put it out there. It's uncomfortable, dude. I'm a pretty private person. I'm not a fan of putting all my stuff out there on the internet, but something was telling me, you got a message, so share it. It's not here to make money or be an influencer or try to be famous or whatever. Like, I do it just because it's a passion of mine. And so, I've worked really hard and, getting my home office studio set up. We're setting up a podcast studio in the conference room at the office. I don't know, man. Just living my best life. I feel really good about things.
Let's touch base on that because, we look at the difference of where, the real estate markets have went, the changes in presidency, everything that's kind of going on. On the Canada side, we get hit with like tons of different tariffs. We're seeing how the economy is kind of fluctuating. There's always this like certain unknown that's been going on, and there's a lot of moving companies out there that are either thriving or they are or they're like decreasing, right? They're declining. They are not making it anymore, and they are having issues with trying to stay alive, right? Trying to stay relevant in their situation. So, what has made you get to that point now where you actually are thriving, like you are like, exceeding. And I kind of want to even touch base on like this whole interstate side of things where you decide to get really strong on long haul, pick up, a couple tractors, some more trailers. Yeah, you've kind of pivoted and says, no, 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 wait a second here. We're gonna make things work.
Hmm. Yeah. So, started the company in 2018. We've been a local mover up until October of 2024. So we've only been doing interstate for 10 months now, right? So, did everything the right way, you know, licensing, insurance, making sure that our paperwork's in order, our estimates are in order, it took a lot of work to like actually get our ducks in a row to do interstate legitimately. And so once we got rocking and rolling, it was, box trucks all over the country. And come to find out that box trucks, running 2 or 3 trucks across the country is not that profitable. We got 3 drivers going out, 3 fuel surcharges or 3 fuel bills. A tractor gets the same fuel economy as a box truck, right? And hotels every single night, and more per diem for more people, and not to mention, there's a opportunity cost of having 3 drivers out of town, and they're not here to service local work. And so it was a no-brainer to get a tractor. We got 1 tractor, 2 trailers, and it takes an immense amount of trust in somebody to get behind the wheel of that thing and drive all over the country. And so, we had my brother-in-law. He had been with the company for 2.5 years at that time, and we trust him, and he's sharp, and he's smart, and he's safe, and he's sober, and he was our like guinea pig, I guess. We got him his CDL, bought the tractor for him, and he's been instrumental in doing the research of this whole tractor trailer over the road game. And it's insanely more profitable. We can take 2 or 3 shipments at a time, drop them off, come back. And so that's why we decided to pivot and go that way. As far as I know, there's a few van line agents here in my market, but we're the only independent that I know of in Utah that runs tractor trailer.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
I always find it so handy, obviously, when you have a brother-in-law that's already kind of driving the tractor trailer, someone to find a driver. That additional help, and I love it too, because I just saw the other post on the weekend or last week about your wife Amanda joining him on a trip to kind of get like, let's get your hands dirty. I'm going on this like trip, to kind of see how it's going on there. Do you find that that's obviously beneficial, right? So, obviously as business owners, we find, okay, great. You know what? Here's the shipment. It's going long distance. I've set it up. But for yourself too, do you have your license to drive the tractor trailers?
No, I do not. I can't
You do not.
I can't even move it around the parking lot if I wanted to, but
I love it.
that is something on my radar. I think I'm gonna, take the test, put in the driving hours just so I have it, especially if we're gonna be, growing this division of our company. I probably should have a CDL. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
the whole,
for sure.
the whole thing with Amanda going on the trip, she's primarily over operations, and so it's just like a leading from the front moment. She's like, I need to go out and experience this, so I know how to manage it, talk about it, relate with it, and so that was her leading from the front action, and she had a great time.
Before we ever started using a moving CRM, someone asked me, could you 10x what you're doing right now with the current systems and processes you have in place? And I said, no. And so he was like, well, then you need to just pull the trigger on the software. And then I saw Smart Moving, and it was game over.
Austin joined thousands of moving owners on Smart Moving in 2021. Since then, he's more than doubled his business.
And I always compare Smart Moving to Apple products. It's just so simple, so easy to use, and that's really what's allowed my team to scale and now have 2 branches. And last year we scaled Central Coast Moving over 50% growth.
If you're ready to turn your moving company into a machine that drives profit, not chaos, try Smart Moving.
Hey everyone, Matty Mailer's here, the guy who pioneered handwritten letters for the moving industry. Why? Because my competition at my moving company was using the same stock postcards as me, and my mailing company didn't care, so I created a better way. Here's some mind-blowing results in July. Miracle Movers Utah closed $93,000 using our handwritten letter strategy. With our campaigns, you can forget about the guessing games, you get a trackable phone number, daily photo proof, an incredible design team, and I'm also included. All letters stop at me for approval before they ever leave our facility. Right now, Movified listeners get 1,000 golden tickets stuffed in our genuine handwritten letters completely free. Plus, I'm going to throw in bulk realtor data for up to 5 counties. What are you waiting for? Moving Letters AI. Stop competing, start dominating.
When you look at those aspects, that's where, hey, we can build out an SOP on how this gets done. Hey, let's see how we're dealing with the customers on these long haul. How are we contacting them to make sure the next shipment's being taken care of, because we're carrying multiple shipments. You recently are transporting vehicles as well too. I mean, it goes hand in hand when you have the trailer availability and have those semi trucks available as well too, or you go into that long distance. I know, and we've talked about in different groups where a lot of the guys go, hey, you know what, like that's a whole other ball game. I'm just going to send like 2 or 3 5-tons and we're going to get this shipment done. But when you start looking at the costs associated with that, when it comes down to fuel, when it comes down to man hours, the truck maintenance and everything else, it just becomes non-profitable.
We find getting into the interstate game, you're not just in competition with local movers, you're in competition with national carriers at that point, right? And so I was like, where are we able to come in at a lower price point for the consumer, but also be bring our costs down too, so that we're still profitable at the end of the day and be more competitive on interstate rates. So that was another huge deciding factor for that.
Yeah, no, for sure. When when we look back, right, we look back at this different mindset, this different shift. You've also changed in regards to your weight loss, your fitness. Like you are really just kind of pivoting everything about who you are as a person to this next level.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so this is new for me, right? I've only been going hard with it for about a month. I just want to backtrack to about a year ago. It was May 2024. I had lost my mom, and during this time, watching my mom pass away, it really messed me up in a big way. And also during that time, I was the heaviest I've ever been. I was 260 pounds. Recently went and got blood, got my labs done, and the doctor's like, man, you're pre-diabetic. You're at risk for a heart attack. Triglycerides through the roof, LDL through the roof, bad cholesterol through the roof. And I was super unhealthy. I was just sitting in the office eating crap. And so, after right around this time, I'm still in a really bad place mentally, and but I knew I had to do something about my health, and I didn't really think that I had the discipline and the fortitude and the go-getterness of it all to eat right and exercise every day, because I was just trying to get through the day mentally. And so started taking GLP-1s couple months after that, and look, I mean, I lost 25 pounds. I lost some weight on it. Still eating like crap, just not as much of it. And through working through over the last year, I've been working through therapy, and I finally about a month or two ago, I finally sat back and I was like, man, I'm in a place to actually like do this the right way and do this the healthy way, the natural way, and nothing against GLP-1s. I think that they're amazing, and they help a lot of people, and they helped me and almost helped me like have some control with my food intake because I'm an addict. Like, whether it's drugs or it's food or it's whatever, if it makes me feel good, I want an excessive amount of it. And so um about 3 weeks ago, I started on the carnivore diet. And basically what it is meat, eggs, cheese, water. That's it, dude. That's all I eat. And I had my operations manager recommended it to me, and he's super fit, super great shape. His name's Spencer. He has one leg and he'll run circles around everybody. He's ex-military. He's like an incredible human being. Like, I look up to him, and he recommended it. And so I started doing it, and oh my gosh, I do have to supplement with like sodium, potassium, magnesium, because carbs help you retain that stuff, right? And I'm pissing out all that stuff, so I got to supplement those vitamins and nutrients. And so ever since I've done that, and obviously exercise every day, or most days, I would say work days 4 or 5 times a week. I'm not like Wes Watson or anything. I'm not just like out there crushing it. I do mild exercise, 45 minutes a morning. And in the last 3 weeks, I've dropped 16 pounds. My energy levels are through the roof. My mental clarity's incredible. Like, back in the day, I probably couldn't recount like what happened 2 hours ago if somebody asked me. And now I feel like I'm pretty on point and at the top of my game mentally. I sleep better, and I always blamed being sore and my body aching and my energy levels being low. I always blamed that on work and my age. I used to always say, man, well,
I'm getting up there.
if you did
I'm getting up there.
and I'm 35 years old, but
Yeah.
I still feel like a kid, right? But like I'm
Right.
like I'm starting to become a middle-aged man, right? And I'm like,
Sure.
well, I guess I'm
Those
blaming it on.
50-year-olds that are listening going, buddy,
They're like,
you're fine.
watch out. Yeah,
Yeah.
calm down. But yeah, I just blame that on, a high stress work environment and my age. And I had no clue that it had everything to do with what I was putting in my body. Everything.
Right.
Soon as I switched that up, I've never felt so good. And because of that, I'm going to keep going. I love the way I feel. I love not aching and being sore and being stressed and being fatigued and sleeping like crap, because in the last 3 weeks I did have some breaded chicken wings, and they damn near put me in the hospital. And so like, I felt bad.
Wow.
And I was like, I can't believe I used to always feel like this. Like, I
Right.
always felt this bad. You don't know
And
it.
I can imagine that clarity that comes with eating right, getting enough sleep, has totally also changed the impact within your work,
Oh,
right? And at the
yeah.
company.
Yeah.
What have you seen has changed on there? Are you getting a little bit more focus? Is there a change and shift in like your attitude now towards the guys? Like, what's happened? What's transpired?
Well, I'm much more patient these days. And patient, and then able to just sit down and just get things done, have more clarity on like where we're going, or if I'm dialing in a process, I seem to be able to do it better. And um not to mention, I'm happier.
Right.
I'm just like, I'm happier, like just waking up, exercising, jumping in my cold plunge, eating like 10 eggs has changed my life. It's like it just
Wow.
completely changed my life, right? And who would have known? I mean, it's funny. It feels like I'm late to the party. Everybody's been talking about this forever, and I'm finally like, oh, whoa.
Wait a second. Yeah.
Hold up, right? And it's just so it's hilarious. Like this is not revolutionary shit. This, but it is to me. It is to me. So I'm super stoked about it. I'm gonna keep going.
Do you find, 2025 has been a wild year, I found, and it's been interesting with the different like fuel costs, labor shortages, the digital competition that's out there now. I mean, ChatGPT 5 just launched, trying to stay ahead of the game and everything. One of the big questions that came up in a mastermind group that I was in was, how prepared are you for the last half of the year? What do you do when August hits? You're now slowly going to go into your slow season from September to December. What does that planning look like? How does it work at Miracle Movers, where you plan to make sure that, hey, we got to still stay busy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, the thing about, AI, whoever's like at the forefront and utilizing it the most, I think are the ones that are going to sail past everybody else. Right. And I can't say that every AI tool out there is worth using, but there's a lot that we utilize that has revolutionized our business, made workflows easier, and created better copy and content, and we're using Come Home AI on our website. So there's like photo estimating software so that like less salespeople can handle more volume. So I don't have to hire a bunch more salespeople to handle the volume. They can actually do more with it. Follow-ups with customers, like high quality sales follow-ups that answer the questions that they're asking and really boost our conversion rates. And gosh, I'm trying to think of what else. It's so ingrained in what we do that and I find new uses for it every single day. And going into the second half of the year, the latter of third and fourth quarter, really what's elevated us this far is selling on value. Like, we're one of the most expensive moving companies in our market, and we still continue to sell on value with real sales skills and objection handling and word tracks and AI responses and being able to book. So we've actually done less moves this year, but have raised our revenue by 50%. So we've done like 25% less moves, which is par for the course with the market right now. But out of those moves, 50% more revenue. And that's what I'm most proud of.
If you're considering Snowball, just do it.
Snowball creates done-for-you referral programs for moving companies so you can turn happy customers into new revenue without lifting a finger. And the results speak for themselves.
In less than a year, we've collected over 2,000 referrals.
We generated over $200,000 of revenue that cost about $5,000 to do it.
I believe we have 4 or 5 the very first day.
The companies winning with Snowball are the ones that already care about their customers. We just help turn that into new business through human outreach and customer nurturing.
Snowball is part of the arsenal of tools that I recommend to my clients because it works.
Being found on the second page of Google is literally like having a billboard in the middle of the desert. Your mama ain't gonna see it. No one's gonna see it. You're on the second page of Google, no one's gonna call, no one's gonna book. Here is the deal. If your business is not ranking on the top of Google, that means your competitors are going to be stealing your customers every single day. So at Rotate Digital, we don't play any guessing games. We use data-driven SEO strategies to make sure Google finds you first so that these Google searches turn into your customers, not your competitors' customers. How do we do it? We do it through AI-driven keyword optimization, exclusive blog networks, backlinking strategies, and honestly, the secret stuff, the proprietary lead attribution software. So what do you get as a result? You get not only good marketing, but now you get clarity into what is bringing you more revenue. So if that's something you want to do, you want to make sure your leads find you and not your competition, go ahead and go to rotatedigital.com, schedule a call, and we'll help you take your business to the top of Google.
That's amazing. Do you attribute that to having more high rates, or just fine tuning certain details within your business and your organization about going, okay, well, let's fine tune on our objections. Let's make sure our closing ratio, like, have you found like the closing ratio has been more better, or like where's that success been?
So it's actually a combo of both. Our conversion rates have gone up about 8% over last year, but our average move value has doubled. So going last year about this time, we had an average move value of a couple grand. It was like maybe $2,000 average move value. Last month we had a $4,000 average move value. And so it's a perfect storm and a combo of higher conversion rates, higher average move values. We're getting less leads, right? And so I would say, I was looking at it the other day, between last summer and this summer, we're receiving around 40 to 50 less leads a month. And we're focusing on just profitable marketing sources. 2 years ago, the writing was on the wall that Google is not good, right? It's not performing well. Google ads are unprofitable. And we're almost seeing like a reverse in marketing, like the old school stuff is what works today. It's the networking, it's the BNIs, it's the chamber meetings, it's the realtor presentations. Like, it's putting yourself out there. That's a big thing that we've done recently, is we hid behind our business with anonymity 2 years ago. We weren't on mail. We weren't out there shaking hands. If a customer called, I was just a humble salesperson, right?
Shout out to movingletters.ai.
Oh man,
right? Been a huge factor in the growth of your business and
Huge.
hitting that whole side of things.
Huge. Yeah. By far the best marketing source. Direct mail always has been, but man, we do some real special stuff with direct mail. And it nets crazy results. But we've been around 7 years, right? Half of our business is repeat and referral sources. That's just, it's in the beginning, it's hard because everything has to be paid. You don't have repeat and referral because, not very many people have used you. And so, we've seen like marketing spend be at 12 to 15% in the early days and drop to like 4. So now it's like 4% these days. And I'm really stoked to see that. Like, that's just, and that is a result of, not only being in business for an extended period of time, but that networking. That networking is huge.
And where are you out there networking? Because I see now, and I kind of want to transition this into the fact that you are setting up kind of like a podcast room at your home for filming video and more content, but then you're also setting one up at your office. What's the plan there, Landon? What's your approach now having a Miracle Movers kind of podcast setup?
I want to start a real estate podcast. Shout out to Chris Sweet with Swamp Rabbit Moving. I was listening to Rotate Digital's webinar a couple weeks ago, and when he told me the kind of return he's getting on
It's wild, right?
interviewing realtors, and with it being so young, he started at the beginning of this year, checked it out, like super high quality production. Holy cow. I'm watching it and I'm like, dude, this is impressive, right? And when he, shared the return, I was like, no way. Just to have a podcast I was like, I know tons of realtors. You know what I mean? So, we're going to be launching it's going to be called The Closing Table, brought to you by Miracle Movers Real Estate Podcast. It's going to be mid-September. So we're excited. I'm excited about it.
Nice. I'm excited to check it out. That's going to be great. It's one of those things I say now to lots of people. I was talking about it at a birthday event on the weekend where someone was talking to me about, like, why did you get into podcasting? And, what's the benefits behind that? And how does it work? And one of the big things I said now is, well, when I get messages all the time from people that go, oh, hey, let's get together for coffee. Hey, let's go for like a network walk or something. It's more like, hey, why don't you just jump on the podcast? Because I'm pretty sure there's going to be some solid nuggets in that conversation. There's going to be some solid nuggets that we can talk about, and also a way to help promote your business as well too. And I think it's fantastic. I shout out to Chris Sweet with Swamp Rabbit. Make sure you check it out. He doesn't advertise, he doesn't push it as much because He is aiming for his local market to talk to realtors, build that connection, and then they also get free promotion of themselves in the real estate side of things. And it also drives more business to your moving company. So it's fantastic. It's like building that relationship. It's a great way. I'm excited to check that out. When you look at this year, what was any unexpected challenges that you had to overcome?
Unexpected challenges. Wow. Well, we had a semi truck collision. We had another semi collide with ours and T-bone our trailer a few months ago. And so we've been navigating insurance and it's fine. But we were seriously worried that, with Matt being a new driver, he's kind of on a probation, right? Like if something happens, we don't want him to his CDL to get suspended. So we've been navigating that. I knew that something would happen, right? But I didn't think it would happen so soon. You know what I mean? I'm like, give us a couple years before we have something happen. Other challenges is, we had an operations manager that had been with the company for 2 years resign. And so we were left like scrambling and wondering, how we're going to replace this guy. And, his name was Andrew, awesome guy, moved on to bigger, better things, but we were able to fill the position with somebody who's super capable of the job, like has all the respect in the world from the guys, communicates well, gets things done. He's on point, right? So we were able to take a somewhat uncertain and frightening situation and make a positive out of it. So it was good.
Who would you say, what was some of the best advice that was ever given to you when you were starting off? And I'm going to go backtrack to, when you had the addiction, you were getting yourself cleaned up, you were switching things around, you built this moving company up. What was some of the best advice that someone gave you?
So before I got into moving, before I was self-employed, when I was first getting sober, there was a man that I knew who was very successful in business, owned many of them. Told, I was new myself. I was about a year sober. And this gentleman said, you can be, he said, be the best damn shit shoveler you can be. That's literally what he said. He said, whatever you're doing, whether it's low level or whatever, be the best at it. So if you're working a low paying job and doing very low level things, be the best at it. When you're operating at a high level, be the best at it. Be the best damn shit shoveler you can be. That was one of the best pieces of advice that I ever received. And so I carried that attitude into every job I had up until I discovered moving, and I've carried that attitude into moving as well. Be the best.
I love that. It's great advice for sure. I mean, it's it's one of those things where it's either be good at one thing, don't try and be 60% on like 5 different things.
Oh man,
I have a hard time struggling with that all the time. I find it's tough, especially as business owners, when you start expanding, you're doing other things. Those struggles are real, and you really want to make sure that you are time blocking and delegating and making sure that you have things in place, because it's so easy to not be the best. And if you fail, it's okay to fail. Like, it's okay to be wrong, as long as you can see it, you can apologize for it, and let your team know, hey, listen, like, I fucked up here. This is where we're going to grow. This is where we're going to get better. Because, those that want to be the best at everything end up having that problem where it's like, they're not sleeping at night, right? They're paranoid, they're frantic, because they're working like 20 hours a day just to make sure that everything is perfect, and it can become overwhelming.
Oh,
on that.
for sure. I look back on, I have a thing called the ADHD, right? Like I get distracted by shiny objects all over the place. I'm like, ooh, this is boring. I want to move to this. Ooh, I want to move over here. And I actually see that's why a lot of entrepreneurs I see don't reach their full potential, is because they're half-assing like 10 different things instead of mastering like one thing. And Louis Massaro put it best when he was talking about that. He said, if you're digging for gold, you dig one really deep hole. You don't dig a bunch of shallow holes all over the place. You dig down far, and until you strike gold, right? And don't get distracted by all the stuff, because I start fictional businesses on a weekly basis.
Right.
Weekly basis.
Right.
And with ChatGPT, it's even easier to do that now. Instead of,
oh, for sure.
oh my gosh, Chat's my biggest advocate of starting a whole other business on a weekly basis. And let's not go there. Let's focus on what's in front of me.
That's great. Yeah, lastly, we talked about this before we hit and started our episode, but you don't do this alone. And we had your amazing and I'd probably say the forefront of the business, which is your beautiful wife Amanda, that's heavily involved within the business. We talked about her just before, that who handles all the operations and stuff. How is the dynamic when you are married, you're running a business together, you're trying to coordinate on delegation on who's really good at this, who's really good at that, and then be able to also turn it off at a certain point when you come home to go this? How has that been working for you? And then also, how has it been so pivotal in your business to have someone like Amanda, be there with you?
Yeah. So that is our biggest asset, is to have the husband and wife partnership tackle this business together and experience rapid growth and profitability and strong KPIs and compliance and have our shit dialed in. It has everything to do with her. Amanda Franchow is the backbone of this business. And I would probably, if it wasn't for her, I'd be in the back of a fucking truck right now. I swear to God. And so, and that's partnerships in the moving business, I'm sure, are tough, because when you're growing it, there's only so much profit to go around, right? So when you're able to have a husband and wife team and that, profit isn't split between two different partners and it's all your household income, right? That helps tremendously. Navigating our place in the business in the beginning was extremely difficult. We were stepping on each other's toes constantly. I had my hand in ops and she had her hand in sales, and we were both doing sales, and we had differing opinions on things and got in arguments, and we don't go to bed angry, but I'll tell you what, there's been some heated moments between us over the years. But over time we fell into our position like this. You stay in your lane, I stay in mine. We come together and do a check-in on a daily basis about where each other's at, and being sometimes at home at the end of the day, like I'm still clocked in and she's not, or she is and I'm not. And we almost have a safe word these days. It's just, let's clock out. If I still want to talk about work at 9 o'clock at night, she'll be like, let's clock out. I'm like, all right.
All right. Yeah.
And, but it has been the greatest thing ever. I love working with my wife. And if a couple doesn't have a solid foundation and they go into a business that's as stressful as the moving business, things can get rough, right? So our love and our love and dedication together is the guiding force behind all of it. I can say you're wrong and I don't like what you're saying, and we can get angry with each other about work and all of a sudden just switch it and be like, that's work. At the end of the day, I love you more than anything. I don't know what I'd do without you.
What's up, guys? It's Austin Yarrow with the Moving Army. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm sure you're crushing it, you're growing your business, and you don't need any help. Majority of you probably don't. But the thing is that information alone isn't enough. If you're looking for someone to hold you accountable, work with you, and collaborate with others in our industry with teams that are killing it, crushing it, you need to join the Moving Army. This is my invitation to you. You can text my personal cell, 805-441-6118. I'll see you soon and wait for your call. Join the moving army today.
Hi, I'm Mark Hirschi with Salmon's Moving and Storage. Today, I want to talk about Tighten Up training. Why? Because this is Netflix grade quality training. It's not those old videos and VHSs that you got hiding in your office somewhere. It's online, it's easy to use, they're short videos, but they get to the point. My new employees, these guys run through these training programs, there's tests at the end, and they're coming out going, oh, I'm ready to rock. So if you haven't checked out Tighten Up training yet, get a demo done, get on board. Guess what else is there? Online portals for my sales staff. Can you believe it? These guys can learn how to overcome objections and book more leads today. So what are you waiting for? Go check out Tighten Up training today.
I love that. That's a great way to end on a high note. Oh, buddy, this has been fun catching up with you, Landon. It's like anybody that's not following Miracle Movers Journey or following Landon on social media, make sure that you're following him and you are checking in. It is exciting to watch. Landon and his wife are an inspiration to those that are looking to have moving companies, or a moving company that is family oriented, that's a husband and wife team, that have this 50-50 situation. It's not, okay, great, like you just answer the phones, like, and I'll handle everything else, or great, you know what, sure, you're working with me, but you're not really working with me. It is like a dynamic duo that everybody should aspire to be and have, but you can see the growth. You see it by having the mindset, by having the discipline within yourself, within your company. Don't drop the ball. Don't drop your prices just because you want to try and book that job. You should be out there exactly following this Miracle Movers guideline in order for success. And if you have any questions about it, I'm sure Landon would love to talk to you about it. And he's an open book for sure. We always can reach out to each other when we have questions, and that's how you grow, right? The community that you're in, that's how you're going to grow. You will not grow if you're not asking the questions, or you're not trying to surround yourself with other like-minded individuals. And this business is tough, right? We just said it, right? Like it's an interesting business. So you got to love it.
Yeah,
buddy.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I couldn't have done it without a strong community, networking with other moving companies. Even if you're in Salt Lake City or if you're in Utah, if you own a moving company and you're listening, stop on by, come by and chat, right? Like nobody needs to be cold again, with each other, right? Like I believe in the law of reciprocity, you know what I mean? And I'm always here to help.
I love it. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your time. For all those that are listening, make sure you're like, follow, subscribe, and stay movified. Till next time. Thanks.